Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Ways Breakfast, the table where we demand that our laws live up to their promise. This morning, we turn our attention to a profound tragedy that has haunted our national conscience for 7 years. The death of a 13-year-old Ochanya, the fierce calls for justice amplified by the power of Nigerians online are once again ringing out. This is a story of a profound betrayal, legal controversy, and the unwavering fight for accountability. Ochanya, according to reports, was tragically abused and later died due to resulting health complications. The alleged perpetrators were her relative from the maternal side and supposed guardian, Andrew Ogbuja, and his son, Victor Ogbuja. The core of today's conversation is this. A Makurdi High Court discharged and acquitted the main suspect, and that's in April 2022. Now, Nigerians are demanding that the Benue State government file a formal appeal to the Court of Appeal as they ask, can public pressure deliver justice for Ochanya, or is the system designed to fail the most vulnerable? I'm Goodness Idehe, and joining me on this conversation is my smart, the sharpest, the most beautiful co-anchor, Triumph Akinboye, and also not leaving out you, yes, our audience. Together, we'll pull back the layers on this issue and hear your thoughts as well. Now, let's meet my beautiful, smart co-anchor. Hello, Triumph. Good morning.
I really love it when you call me certain names. I'm like, oh, interesting. I'm glad that, I can hear somebody is telling me. You're the first person telling me all this morning.
Aww.
So it's so good to hear that. Good morning. Beautiful people, how are you doing today? How are you doing to Goodness?
I'm doing good. How are you doing too?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited. I'm wondering that I'm glad that the weekend is coming up really, really, really soon. By tomorrow, everywhere. I'm just happy, even though I don't have, there's really no difference between my weekends and then weekdays.
Okay.
Just on
Always
emotion,
busy.
just always having something to do. But I am glad that the weekend is coming.
Just one statement regarding this topic we're going to be discussing later.
It's a very sad one. It's a very sad one. And I am not supposed to start with, coming from the perspective that it is such a wicked thing to do, if you would ask me, going to the guardian and the son who are the perpetrators of this crime, and they must be brought to book. So we are going to look, we are going to look or take a look at what the law is saying as regards this situation. So it's something that you would just want to keep yourself locked in on what is about to happen.
That's why you're even wearing white and black.
Yes,
you need to be the judge on this
representing
table.
the law.
Advocate Triumph.
Yes.
All right, viewers, let's go on a short break to reflect on a significant event in history. And when we come back, we will look through the papers from today. Please stay tuned.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Back, that's a look at today in history. Now let's move on to what's making headlines this morning. However, remember that we love to hear your insight and perspective on our comment section, and our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702-500-7749 or 0701-4242-420. If you've yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel as Official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button now, like and share the link. Tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV and don't miss this. Now let's take a look at what's making headlines today. We'll be scanning the pages of The Punch, The Guardian, and even the Daily Trust to bring you the biggest stories of the day. And now I'm going to be rolling over to my smartest, Triumph Akiboyi, the advocate on this table.
Okay, let us take a look into what is trending now, what is on the front page of the Guardian News, if you could say that. Let's start with the screaming headline that we have here. Federal government backtracks on pardon as Nigerians question due process. This is a story you would find in page 6 of the Guardian News. And above that, service chiefs unveil ambitious plans at Senate confirmation. This is another story you would find in page 3 of the Guardian News. If you take a look at page 3, the same page 3 of the Guardian News, you're going to find another story. Oil incentives may cost Nigeria 6 trillion naira yearly. Neti Sislak 1. And then to the last story, on page 4, reps approved Tinubu's $2.34 billion loan, empower EFCC to seize assets without conviction. So these are the few stories making headlines in the front page of the Punch News. But let's take a look at, one of the stories that we are going to be talking about, which is the federal government, coming out to say that, okay, the federal government has now decided to backtrack on pardon as Nigerians question due process. So Tinubu has decided to withdraw, the pardon, and it has sparked criticism. People have been coming out to say that, oh, what kind of governance are we dealing with? What kind of due process are followed for the coordination and, the public sensitivity. And I remembered when this whole issue of clemency, this whole issue of releasing inmates, people that are actually supposed to be in the prison, but now you're coming out to say that, okay, I am releasing them. And I have discovered, or I am quite intrigued by the way it is very easy. You have a case that is already closed, and then before you know it, the next thing you're hearing is that somebody somewhere on social media, is speaking interest, another person is speaking interest, picking interest. Before you know it, the whole community of social media is talking about a particular thing. And I have seen the fact that it has gone so far that a lot of people are now becoming so interested in a particular case. Just like this Ochanya or Gbanje story that we are going to be discussing. What if the public did not decide to just take it, you know, everybody just take it and everybody just gets very interested in it. And we are seeing the fact that, okay, there will be results, there will be changes, just like this clemency that our president came out to talk about. There's so much question, but I like the fact that they're taking a different stance to it, to what should happen, to what should be. And then the second thing that I was going to talk about is the second story that we have here. But before that, I was looking at a news yesterday and I was seeing that, I don't know if you saw it, that Aliko Dangote has come out to say that, oh, whatever dollar that you have, just make sure that you are taking it out, because maybe by the end of this year, I don't really know, I can't remember how he said it, because by the end of this year, you might not be able to, or maybe you might not be able to spend a dollar, or the dollar might not be useful. And this has generated a whole lot of things. Why some people believe that, okay, let us believe Aliko Dangote, and actually, if you have any dollars in your account, any kind of money that you're keeping that is not Naira, just find a way to make do, maybe convert it to Naira, because you might not be able to do that. But fingers crossed to what is going to look like after now.
All right, that's so much. And now let me quickly look at what we have on the Daily Trust on the newspaper this morning. And yes, on the Daily Trust, there are inciting stories, very beautiful ones per se. And we have the first that says the National Assembly okays Tinubu's request to borrow $2.35 billion. And beside that, we have Kano confirms 4 new variants of polio virus. As well, along, we have banks' credit to private sector drops by 6 trillion naira in 4 months. As well as we have the Daily Trust leading on the front page of the newspaper that says, alleged coup plot, Silva confirms raid on residents. And below we have federal government withdraws pardon for Mayam Sanda, drug dealers. And the baseline, we have alleged Christian genocide. U.S. lawmakers relying on faulty data that says federal government. We have protest, curfew, trail, Tanzania presidential poll, and Shatima to act. Don't allow mischief makers divide Nigeria. Now let's look at what the story that concerning the Kano confirms 4 new variants of poliovirus. I'm mostly specific about health this morning. And it says that the Kano State Primary Healthcare Management Board has confirmed the discovery of 4 new variants of the poliovirus in the state, and warning that unless vaccination is routinely sustained, the virus could spread after its eradication. So we have the Professor Salisu Ahmad, represented by the Director of Disease Control at Kano State, said this at a town hall meeting to commemorate World Polio Day in Kano yesterday on Wednesday. And he said not just environmental cleaning can really eradicate these, but, you know, when other system really put so much effort into the healthcare sector of getting such disease. I mean, polio is really not something that we should be really scared of, like the COVID-19 we had in 2020. So if there is proper involvement of the government and partners, the virus could be eradicated. He also noted that the job is not done yet, as 4 new variants were just discovered in the case, still undergoing laboratory test. And we'll move on to, or do you have any addition to say concerning that?
I just like the fact that they are paying much attention to the healthcare sector, especially when it deals with something that affects our children, that affects, you know, every child out there. Whatever is going to threaten their health is something that we must pay attention to. So I love the fact that they are paying attention to this. So whatever it is that should be done to the healthcare sector is something that they need to focus on, so that we don't have anything happening to our children out there.
And I like the way he placed emphasis on it, that not just environmental sanitation could really eradicate this, but when we put everything in place, including even vaccinating our children, I think we will be able to curb and even improve the healthcare sector. Now let's look at one more news briefly that says resist mischief makers trying to divide Nigeria. Shetima tells
Oh,
The
so who are the mischief makers?
I don't really know, but we get to know from him, right? The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has urged the Arewa Consultative Forum, that's the ACF, to reject attempts by mischief makers to sow division in Nigeria, calling on northern leaders to unite behind President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. So that's much we can take on the newspaper review. And we'll go on a short break right now. And when we return, we'll really talk on our topic for today that says, child abuse in Nigeria, can public pressure deliver justice for Ochanya? And we're going to be joining us rather, is our Esquire Ufoman Nefi Otta. Please stay tuned.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back, our dearest viewers, and of course we're now coming gradually on the climax of today and focusing on the topic that says child abuse in Nigeria, can public pressure deliver justice for Ochanya? And joining us on this table will be, of course, our Esquire Ufoman Nefi Otta. Good morning to you, Efe.
Good morning, goodness. It's amazing
All
to be
right,
here.
I have
Good
on this
morning.
table to my smartest Triumph Akinboye, and together we'll be having a very open and wide topic conversation on the topic that says child abuse in Nigeria, can public pressure deliver justice for Ochanya? And yes, moving on, for 7 years now, we have a story of a 13-year-old girl who has been a constant, painful reminder of the failure of protection in our society. So the betrayal was profound, and resulting health complication allegedly led to her death. In a move that shocked the nation and ignited widespread fury, a Makurdi High Court in April 2022 discharged and acquitted the main suspect, Andrew Obuja. This outcome sparked the renewed fervent calls for justice propelled by citizens using and currently trending hashtag justice for Ochanya. The people are demanding that the legal process not end here, as they are demanding that the Benue State government file a formal notice of appeal with the Court of Appeal. However, opinions are split. The public sees the acquittal as a failure of the judicial system, while others caution that public pressure without concrete legal reform may not be enough to overcome the systemic challenge of enforcing the Child Rights Act that was enacted in 2003. And we asked this morning, does public outrage truly challenge judicial impunity, or does it risk running out of steam before true reform is achieved? If it what have you.
Okay, so the question says, can public pressure.
Yes, can public
Can
outrage
you take it
truly
again? Can
challenge
public
judicial
pressure?
impunity?
Well, it's a yeah and no answer. You know, the way the law is that the law is an ass. I mean a donkey, where you let it go is where it to go. So to establish a crime and offense, in this instance rape, the court will look at the ingredients of the offense.
Okay.
That is whether there was penetration, whether there was consent, and a host of other things. In the instance of the discharge and acquittal of the uncle, Mr. Andrew, he was discharged and acquitted on the basis that there was no penetration. The medical reports did not reveal any instance on that ground he was discharged. So public opinion may just put the case into light, but it cannot really it cannot truly bring justice to the case, because if there is no evidence, there's nothing the courts can look at.
All right, but from my own report, right, I discovered that there were two autopsy reports that was made, and the one coming from the police ham says that the autopsy was her death was as a result of sexual act that was carried out on her, right? And aside that, there was a video of a statement also that was also recorded in one of the news outlets,
Yes.
where she says that as at age 5, she actually went to a maternal relative house because she couldn't get a school in our environment,
Yes.
so she had to move on there. And at age 8, she first had an encounter with the son, right, with the son of the uncle, Andrew, Victor rather, and which she reported
Yes.
to her sister, and later the father tried to scold the boy, not knowing that even he himself was going to also be part of the culprit of carrying out such inimical act on her. So based on a video of her statement and even the second autopsy report gotten from the police ham, shouldn't that be enough for there to be a 4-count charge on Andrew? Do I have you?
A 4-count charge on what basis? The court has already decided. There's nothing that ties him. Unfortunately, there's nothing that ties him to the case based on the evidence before the court. Like I already said, the law is an ass. So what is left for us to do is to find the other offender, the son. That is Victor. I guess he's still on the run, but it's just unfortunate that he hasn't been found in 7 years. That was 2018. We're in 2025 right now. Should before these rape cases are as and are based on what the evidence that is gotten from specimen collected from the perpetrators, and this is how the perpetrators are actually tied to the offense. And these evidences can be washed away; they can be wiped off. So it's better to report the case, then the victim is taken for test and examination, which should be conducted ordinarily within 72 hours. After 72 hours, such evidences cannot be traced anymore. So
Esquire,
I
thank you so
think
much for
this is something that the prosecutor at the High Court, where the
Esquire, Efe, thank you so much for joining. I love the fact that you have been able to come from the point of view of a lawyer, beyond the public outrage, beyond what everybody is getting angry about. Because, for example, one thing that if people are listening to you right now, not many people would even be able to agree to what you're saying. That maybe somebody like the father, who is Andrew, that's the man, that's the father of the boy that they are both perpetrators of this crime. This situation is such a is an high state of wickedness. Beyond this particular case that we are talking about right now, I was watching a video of a lady yesterday who is coming out to say that our own sister, who is 15 years old, is about to get married to a man who is 56 years old in December, which is child abuse. So let us take a look at. So it is beginning to feel like, because you mentioned the fact that, okay, the law, maybe they couldn't find enough evidence. I might not be able to say it in your terms, but that means they were not able to find enough evidence to prove that this man is actually guilty. But beyond all of that, let's talk about
Yeah.
how do people defend um, the children, like the child's rights, because it feels like, okay, maybe because Ochanya did not have maybe lawyers or a very good lawyer that could defend our case. And you cannot take away the fact that as the public, as people representing or what citizens, of course, our emotions will be there. We are not coming to hear what the law is saying or what the law is not saying, but justice should be served. So I really want you to explain if there is actually a way to actually defend when the case is not against, I am not fighting against somebody who is my age group. We are fighting against somebody, she's just a child. In fact, she's dead already. So is there any law or are there any people that are supposed to be representing, a child? There is something called like the Child Rights Act.
Yes.
These people, because we cannot keep saying that, okay, the law this, the law that, the law. I almost don't want to say that, okay, maybe I don't want to get the law, but we have to talk about it from the point of view, from the eyes of the law. Actually, that's where I also want you to come out from. But how do we represent this? Also, can this case be reopened? That is the one of the father. Even though you said that the son, we can still reopen it. How do we also reopen the case of the father? Because it has to be reopened.
So, the whole issue boils down to the prosecutor of the case. They are supposed to carry out investigations. Law authority, law enforcement agencies are supposed to do their work. So, in the instance of public opinion, now, what is the police doing about getting Victor to book? What is the police doing about that? The father has faced the law in his own rights, but where is Victor currently? So, public opinion should push the police to do better and other enforcement agencies. But actually, the police should look for him and get him to goes on for Benin State. We have the ones for Lagos State. But then, like I already established, proving rape cases is not as easy as it is. I'm speaking from the perspective of a lawyer now. When there is no evidence before the court, there is nothing the court can decide on. We cannot just be um, we we have to be emotional about it because this is a child. She had dreams, she had visions, she wanted to go to school. She left her community, but unfortunately, she fell into the wrong hands and she ended up dying. Very unfortunate. But like I already said, the law is explaining things that is before it. There's nothing the court can decide when there's nothing before it. In the instance, the medical report will show whether there was an act of penetration or not. Even if the testimony of the victim has been given before the court can only rule based on what is before it, aside the testimony of the witnesses, those that come to court to testify in respect of the case, and the reports of the doctors, which I already explained should be um should be done within 72 hours, else the specimen of the perpetrator washes away or disappears. So I think is how will I put it now? It's left for everybody to be their brother's keeper. I think this is public opinion is also giving other people an opportunity to speak up about the matter. At least people are better aware now that they should not release their children to even family members. You should watch out for your kids and pay attention closely to your children. I hope I've been able to answer the question, or you can just guide me through if you missed anything out.
Can the case of the man, that's the Andrew, Mr. Andrew, can it be reopened? Or if it cannot be reopened, what's the process? If it can be reopened, what's the process?
Yes.
You are yet to answer that.
Okay, so it doesn't have a timeline. Of course, it can be reopened, but this is based on the evidences that are found. If at all there's a report that comes that says that proves that Mr. Andrew committed the offense, of course, it's going to be tendered before the court. And of course, Victor hasn't been found yet, and is also part of the charge. So obviously, he can obviously be reopened Yes.
All right. So
There is no
you've been making.
timeline as to the reopening of the case. It is based on.
You can go ahead.
Okay.
All right. So you've been talking
No,
about.
I already lost my train of thought. Maybe you can just guide me.
Okay. You were talking about that the case, if within 72 hours, if the specimen is not checked, it washes off. And now this is over how many years now? We have 7 years. I don't think they can even get such results from him anymore. But now we are faced with the reality. What can we do presently? Because concerning the reports brought to the court, there were two reports, and I read from my research. We have the first report. There were two autopsy reports that came from the Federal Medical Center in Makurdi. And we have a second report from the Nigerian Police Forensic Laboratory in Lagos State. There were two reports. The first one, which is from the Federal Medical Center, says that the disease suffered diseases that was a natural cause. While the other the autopsy report that came from the Police Forensic Laboratory says that the disease suffered diseases that were related to sexual abuse. And when they later found that, they saw that even the hymen covering the membrane was already totally removed, which showed that there was an act of, probably a sexual act that was carried out on her. In a situation now where it is over 7 years that we can't even get Andrew to go with the test because he wasn't even tested. His specimen wasn't even collected to carry out further medical inquiries or research. What can we do as regarding this, Andrew? Because outside, we have a statement of the girl that stated that the man, the uncle, actually slept with her, including the son. And we also have a forensic report from the police arm that also says that our death was as a result of a sexual molestation that happened on her. I feel with this with this report or with this evidence we have, I feel the court should be able to do that. And moreover, even the public, the families and the relatives are also currently fighting that there should be a reopening of the case, probably at the appeal court, for them to revisit such situations. So I want to ask you, is this really possible of really having these total all whole issues reopened, checked? And how can we confirm, now that you said within 72 hours the specimen washes off, how can we now confirm actually that this man, Andrew, could or allegedly would have been a culprit?
Okay, so you talked about the report. The two reports you are referring to are the autopsy reports. The
Yes.
report I was referring to was the medical examination. That's at the point when he was brought to court for the charges of rape. The autopsy report speaks to the facts after she died.
Yes.
So those are two different things. So the question is now what the courts can do. Of course, like I already established, the courts can the courts to put their hearts, the evidences they will tender in courts are credible and enough to prove the case, because honestly speaking, for a court to give a decision, the court looks at the ingredients of the offense. And in the instance of rape, at the fact that the court will ask some question: was there any penetration? And if there was evidence speaks to that fact, was there a medical report? What does the report say? Who examined this child? And can the person come to court and say what they found? This is a 13-year-old. Obviously, she cannot give consent. She's not even up to the age of consent. Then the third at the time. So these are what establishes the offense of rape in a court of law. So yes, the case can be reopened, like I already said. Well, this is an opportunity for the prosecutor to put their house in order and ensure that in appealing this case, they have enough evidence to bring the uncle, that is
Andrew.
um can you remind me of his name?
Andrew
Andrew, and the
Obuja.
son to book.
Yeah.
So yes, Obuja, yes, and the son Victor, who has not been found yet,
All right.
to book.
Okay, we'll continue with this, but we would like to go on a short break. And when we return, of course, the conversation will still hold. Please stay tuned.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
You're welcome back on this show, Ways Breakfast. And of course, we're still on the topic concerning Ochanya's case of sexual assault, or what I call it molestation. And we still have the topic that says child abuse in Nigeria, can public pressure deliver justice for her? And of course, Child had something to say before we went on break.
Like I said, this is a very sad story, and it even makes me more sadder hearing, our Esquire tell us that this is beyond the emotions of the public, of what the people are saying, but based on what the law is saying, the evidence.
The court.
So it's something that I'm not agreeing with, but I just have to accept because it is the law at the end of the day. However, our thought, the public, the outrage, the parents of this child, our thought, our emotions are valid. So who are the bodies that should be really responsible? Okay, now let's say that we are going against the law directly. Who are the bodies that should be responsible in putting, you mentioned, prosecutors, the prosecutors actually appealing this case and doing it well. You mentioned the Nigerian police force. Who are the other people that should be really, really responsible? Or could it be that maybe Ochanya did not have the money to have a lawyer that could defend her? And which also brings me to the position of you also trying to tell us that how is there a way, where you have like the government, to really, really appeal the case of this particular girl that we are talking about? Maybe then it was maybe the case of maybe they did not have the money to even afford to get a lawyer that is good enough.
There could even be a manipulation in the result that was being brought out by the
we
Federal
are talking
Medical
about
Center.
a lecturer. He's not even maybe a powerful person. So
It could be a powerful person,
so I'm just saying that like beyond this. So what do you think about like all of this? Who are the bodies that should even be really, really responsible and to be all out? To be able to see that, okay, justice is actually gotten for this lady, something that will be proven guilty by the law.
And sorry, adding to what Chayof had said, because this is intertwined, how can really the court decipher or determine that the results presented to them is actually the truth, the genuine result of it? Because, I mean, a lot of people could go to the hospitals where they are carrying out such findings and manipulate results in their own favor. So how can really the court really judge or know that, oh, this thing is really genuine? Because if you are saying the court is just following what is being presented to them. I mean, it could also be fake. So that means justice will not be right as at that point.
Okay, so usually in court proceedings, when a medical report is tendered, um, the person who causes the investigation, the doctor will be asked to come to court to explain his person will explain what he or she discovered in the course of their investigation. So the court would also take up this they had come up with. So it's not just automatic. Obviously, the court to look at the credibility of such documents and also take cognizance of the testimony of the medical practitioner. Cover the question.
Okay, so what are also the bodies that should be responsible for coming out to actually defend this lady's case? Is it just beyond the prosecutors? You mentioned the prosecutors already. You mentioned the Nigerian police force. Are there any other bodies that you think that if this lady would really, if they would reopen this case and this lady would really win, who are the people that would be the ones that can actually help in providing enough evidence and ensuring that this particular case is not just left somewhere again?
Okay, so the bodies involved of that should be the law enforcement agencies, the police, who cause the investigation of what had actually happened. The ministries of the minors, she can actually or she can report, but the family members are the ones that are supposed to speak up. So it also boils down to the fact that many of many of us are many people are around you, so people might not really want to talk about it that my child was raped, but then they should speak up. It's only in their speaking up that the government organizations, the non-governmental organizations and bodies can hear and take up those cases before it is too late. For instance, if they are able to speak up and the matter is reported and they're able to conduct the investigations and they're able to take the girl for examinations and tests in a hospital, and the evidence is being collected and preserved within that period of 72 hours, the case will have been totally different from what it is today. I think there was an instance of her going for hospitals to hospitals to hospitals to hospitals for a period of over 5 years, I believe. So these are the issues that we actually face in the country. It's just quite unfortunate.
All right, thank you so much. Another thing, beyond what we've been talking about, I would like to ask a question. We've been seeing cases of child abuse, people having to get married at an age where they don't want
Very
to get
young.
married, very young, terrible. They've had to go through things. The case of Ochanya, she was even able to speak up before she died. Some people are not able to speak up. Some people are not able to say anything. And even when they eventually talk, it feels like they are not able to do so much for them. So I would like to know, because you would know more about the law than I do, what are the laws? Are there probably any laws binding, maybe at a certain age, if a child is exposed to certain things, maybe sexual, not direct sexual assault, because sometimes some of them, because of their parents, they just have to like go into maybe the marriage. Are there any laws binding? Maybe at age 15 or age 18, you're not supposed to be in a marriage or get into a relationship. Maybe, I don't know, are there any laws binding all of that that could actually protect our children or child or even teenagers, as the case may be?
Of course, there are laws. There are laws. So as we have laws that bind the whole country, those are the acts of the country. We also have laws of various states. So we have the Child Rights Act that is applicable in all states in Nigeria. We have the child rights law. For instance, Lagos State has its own child rights law. Then we have the Constitution. The Constitution of Nigeria guarantees every human being has a right to dignity of human person, and every person has a right to be free from exploitation. We have the Children and Young People's Act. We have the Act on trafficking in acts. That's the act that deals with human trafficking, which can also involve child trafficking as well. That is a that is a creation of the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. That's NAPTIP. We also have the Universal Basic Education Act, which makes it compulsory for children to go to school education. We have the VAP Act, that's Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. We have several acts. We have the Criminal Code Act. We have the African Charter, the international conventions. We have the African Charter on Human and on the Rights and Welfare of Children, and Nigeria has ratified it. So we have several laws that actually um,
All right. Thank you so much, Ufoma Nefe Otta, for joining us on this conversation. I really hope that we had a very enough time to really talk about this from the judiciary angle. Well, at the end of the day, accountability for child abuse should be about the consistent application of the law, access without compromise, and justice without dilution. The memory of Ochanya Ogbanje must not be simply a sad anniversary. It must be a fuel for structural change. Making the case a public spectacle might have opened the door for an appeal, but it must not close the door to the quiet, diligent work of legal reform and enforcement. We must stop treating child abuse as a family affair and start treating it as the heinous national crime that it is. The fight for justice for Ochanya is the fight for safety of every Nigerian child, because no matter the circumstance, poverty, power, or politics, the ability to protect our children and deliver justice remains the true equation for a successful nation. Do ensure you follow us on all our social media platforms and join the conversation using the hashtag WaysBreakFast. I'm Goodness Ide, and on behalf of our team, Triumph and I, thank you for starting your morning with us. See you tomorrow, same time. Stay curious, stay informed.